What's up, guys? It's Ben with 2020 election predictions, and just in the past 15 minutes, I posted a video explaining what my updated election forecast is going to be between Donald Trump and Joe Biden, and I just wanted to kind of answer any questions that that y'all had on why I made certain predictions, why I think certain states will go either way, just so that I can have more of a back and forth. So I predicted Joe Biden right now to win with 290 electoral votes. I predict that he'll win Wisconsin, Michigan, and Minnesota, that he will very narrowly win Pennsylvania and Arizona, but that Trump would win North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida. All Trump would have to do is win Pennsylvania, and we get to an electoral college tie, and the tie would go to Donald Trump, who's the incumbent. And then if Donald Trump were to win Arizona and Pennsylvania, that also gets him over 270 votes. Right now, I think Donald Trump's most plausible path to victory is through North Carolina, Florida, and Pennsylvania. We've seen in the Real Core Politics polling average that Pennsylvania, Biden is only winning by about 3.5 points, which means that, Donald Trump is right in striking distance. And if we take the polling bias that there was in 2016 and apply it to 2020, there's a New York Times article that did this, that Trump wins. So I think when I am assuming right now that Biden has a slight advantage to win, that the polls aren't going to be as bad as they were. But if they are as bad, if there's kind of this Republican silent majority, then we're going to see that Trump is going to win again and surprise the pundits again. Because like right now, if you kind of look at the election predictors, including myself, I think that Biden is going to win. Some other people think it's going to be a Biden landslide. I definitely don't think that Biden is going to win by a landslide by any means. I think it's going to be very, very close. I don't think that either candidate's going to get above 300 electoral votes. However, right now, I think Biden has a slight advantage, but Trump could definitely erase this in the debate. We have a debate coming up, the first presidential debate on Tuesday. Chris Wallace from Fox News is the host. He has released the topics, and I think we're going to see that is going to have a lot of movement in the race. I think that's probably going to be kind of one of the most important days of the presidential election, even though we're a little bit over a month away. I think a lot of people are going to tune in. I think it's going to break viewership records, just because I think because of quarantines and stuff that a bunch of people are going to be staying at home in their house. And I really don't think that people have been able to see Trump or Biden on the campaign trail that much, because Trump has held a lot less rallies than he did in 2016. Same with Biden. Biden's barely held any rallies. So I think that's something that a lot of people will be looking at, and I think a lot of people on the Democratic side are scared to have Biden go out there for the debate, because I think that there's this fear that Biden, he's older, he's not as well spoken as he used to be. He could kind of melt under pressure. So right now, I'm gonna go to the chat and kind of answer any questions that you'll have. So I see Shane Rossi, Trey Provest, Will, Bob Friedman. Thank you all for kind of joining, and I'd love to answer some questions that you'll have, and I'll kind of read it right now. So I do agree with that's pretty radical that Trump's most likely path is through Pennsylvania and Florida. One thing that's just very interesting is, like, even though that Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin tracked each other like almost exactly the same in 2016, we are not seeing that in the polls in 2020. Michigan appears to be to the left, and Pennsylvania to the right, and Wisconsin is smack dab in the middle. But Pennsylvania seems more to the right of Wisconsin and Michigan than Michigan seems to the left. So I think that right now, if we kind of account for some bias in the polls, Pennsylvania is like almost a pure toss-up. So I think, and it has the most electoral votes out of all the states in the Rust Belt. So I think that's probably a state where we're going to see a lot of investments from both sides. So let me kind of go to the chat right here. So I think what we'll see is that the congressional districts actually could prove to be very important, because if Trump were to lose the second congressional district in Nebraska but win Pennsylvania and Florida, then we can see he's at 268 votes, which is just one vote away from winning. So I think we're definitely going to see that each candidate is going to spend money on ads and stuff in the Maine congressional seat and the Nebraska congressional seat. Purple Political Talk, thank you for your chat. We haven't really talked in a while, but I'm doing great. I'm loving doing this channel, and I'd love to hear kind of suggestions on some of my future videos. But right now, I think Biden has a slight edge, but this really could change a lot. I think on Tuesday we're gonna have our first presidential debate. I think Trump has a very good chance of kind of changing the entire race. I think with Ruth Bader Ginsburg passing to affect the race some too. We haven't seen kind of a ton of polls that were taken after that. We got a slew of polls too a day, but they're kind of all over the place. We had some where Trump is up in Florida and Arizona. We had some where he is down in Florida and Arizona. We had one poll that was a Democratic leaning poll that had Trump down by 4 points in Pennsylvania, which is honestly pretty good for a Democratic winning poll. So if he were to win Florida, Arizona, and Pennsylvania, he would get to the 270 number. I think he would get to 278 in this scenario, or 260 or 279. So this is what I think of kind of Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death, that impact on the election. I think that if Trump gets a nominee and they get confirmed in the Senate, I think that this will probably hurt Trump, because I think that a lot of Republicans might stay at home because they realize that they have a 6-3 advantage in the Supreme Court, so their vote might not matter as much. However, if Trump tries to appoint the Supreme Court justice, but somehow it gets blocked in the Senate, then I think that this could actually help the Republicans. I think we saw in 2016 that a vacant Supreme Court seat when Antonin Scalia died in 2016. I think this kind of helped Trump get his GOP base, because there were a lot of evangelical voters who didn't really like Trump, but I think when they realized that the Supreme Court was at stake, they ended up voting for him. So I think that was something that happened I think in 2020 that the evangelicals are already around him. But if Trump fills that seat before the election, I don't know if you're going to see as big of incentives for the evangelicals to vote for him, because they kind of got all they wanted from the Trump presidency. So I think that filling the seat is probably going to be great for conservatives in the long run, but I think they would kind of get hammered in the short term. So I think that's kind of what Mitch McConnell and other Senate Republicans think, that the long-term impact of having a 6-3 conservative Supreme Court probably outweighs the downsides of kind of losing the presidency and maybe even losing the Senate. So I think that those are risks that the Republicans are willing to take. But I mean, we've seen with the Democrats lately that they might be willing to pack the courts. I partly think that is kind of just a tactic to get Republicans to back off. I don't know if they would actually do that. But we will see. So I'll try to answer some questions. Shane Rossi, don't you think a silent majority of neoconservatives could flip this election? I definitely think that there could be kind of a shy voter effect. I think this will mainly come from suburban voters who might be kind of tired of the protests that have been going on. I think it's different maybe from the profile of the 2016 shy voter that I think came more probably in the Rust Belt, kind of from the blue collar voter. I think this will probably come from more of a educated suburban women shy vote. But I mean, I don't think Trump can count on that. So we will see if that comes to fruition. Um, but it's definitely something to look at going forward. So right now I'm at about 10 minutes into my live stream. I would love to answer some more of your questions. Y'all been very active in the chat. If you want me to focus on a topic for about 3 to 5 minutes, uh, there's this super chat feature, which is the $ under the chat. So you click on that. You can write anything you want and then put like a $3 amount, and it lights up like really, really bright. And I will kind of focus on that for the remainder of the live chat. So I would love to answer your questions right here. So let's get going. While I'm waiting on some of the super chats to come in, I'll kind of just keep on talking about where my presidential prediction is right now. I think some things that could change the prediction are going to be the debates that are coming up. Robert TV 2004, thank you so much for the super chat. I really appreciate it. Keep it up. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that right there. Let's see. I wish it wasn't a two-party system all the time. I think that is something that a lot of us are feeling right now. However, I think that the two-party system is just so entrenched in our political system that I don't think we're ever going to see a time where you're going to have a third party get a lot of support. I think the last time that we saw that was in 1996, and even though Ross Perot got like 20% of the vote in 1992 and 1996, he was just a spoiler. And unless we can get enough people to kind of leave the Democrat and Republican Party, we're never going to see an extension of the two-party system. So Robert TV 2004, thank you so much for the support right there. I'd really encourage everyone else to get in that too. That's a really cool a little pair with doing the little barbells for the keep it up. That's pretty cool. So let's see. Did you see the ABC Washington poll post recently? So yes, this is a very interesting poll because when I think of kind of the Washington Post, I typically think of kind of a left-leaning news organization. How these all these polls across the board, I think they polled about 3 to 4 different states. They were all very good for Trump. This is an A+ rated poll on 538. We see that Trump is up by 4 points in Florida. He's getting 51% of the vote, so he's kind of getting above that 50% threshold that a lot of pollsters will look at. And he's +1 in Arizona as well. And we see that Martha McSally is only down by 1 in Arizona. So I definitely want to say that this is probably an outlier. Because I think most of the polls have like Biden up by 1 or 2 points in Florida. So I think I don't think we can expect that Trump is going to win Florida by 4 points. However, I think this is definitely a good sign for Trump in Florida and in Arizona, where we see it. Sebastian, oh my gosh, with the $50 super chat. Can y'all believe this? Can y'all believe this? Holy cow. Thank you so much. I mean, that is just so generous. Wow. I mean, that is crazy. Thank you so much, Sebastian. You are the best. I'm gonna make this live stream going for like 30 to 40 minutes just because this gave me so much energy. So thank you so much, Sebastian. That was really cool. So yes. Woo! All right. Sorry. Um, okay, so I would love to answer one of your questions, Bastion. I'll even answer 10 of your questions if you have any. But if you don't kind of have any topics that you want me talking about right now, I'll just kind of keep on going, answering other people's chats. But that was really really nice, Bastion. So hypothetically, would Biden win Texas or Ohio first? I think this is a very interesting question. We've seen some polls in Ohio. We saw a Rasmussen poll from the state of Ohio that had Biden up by 4 points. I mean, this was a total outlier. Now, I'm surprised that Rasmussen even has this poll because they tend to be more right leaning. Um, I still think that in Texas, there's just more registered Republicans. So I think probably Ohio in the 2020 election would be more likely to go for Biden. However, going on into the future, I definitely think it'll be Texas. I think what we've seen is 2016 was a tipping point. It was an inflection point in U.S. politics, and we saw that like states like Texas, Arizona, Georgia, they all moved to the left. While I think we saw that states like in the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Minnesota, they all moved to the right. So I think this is something that we're going to be looking at a lot going forward. And I think that these Sunbelt states, like Arizona and Texas, are probably moving to the left faster than some of the Rust Belt states are moving to the right. So this is definitely something that Republicans are going to want to look at. But we've also seen data points that Trump is doing better with Hispanics in 2020 than in 2016. In 2020, Hispanics are going to be the biggest minority voting group. So this could be a good sign for Republicans in the Sun Belt going forward. So Sebastian asks, do you think there is a and again, thank you so much for that super chat. I mean, that was just so generous right there. And listen, guys, I don't expect anyone else to come close to $50. That's just out of the world. But even like $3 to $5 to $10 helps. So that's just very 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 nice. I just like really appreciate that a lot. So okay. Do you think there's a possibility that the debates won't happen? So I think that this is definitely a possibility. I think this would happen maybe if one of the candidates were to get the coronavirus. If there just was some huge world event where maybe Trump would have to skip it just because he would have more pressing matters to deal with. However, I think it would look pretty bad on either candidate if it was kind of like up in the air if they really had to skip it. I think definitely Biden has more to lose if he skips the debates, just because I think that I think that a lot of people have been critical of Biden for kind of like staying in his basement and not going out in public a lot. And I think that people have more confidence in Trump to be a kind of more competent speaker and like not having Alzheimer's. So I think Biden, it's really important for his campaign to have a strong debate performance, because I think it's going to be one of the most watched debates. I think just because it's 6 days away, I don't think that the first presidential debate is going to get canceled, but definitely maybe some in the future, maybe the second or third probably will. There is the possibility that they could get canceled. Maybe more people on the left will want to cancel them. But I really don't think that's something that Biden or Trump would skip, but because I think it will help Trump. And I think that Biden realizes that if you were to try to skip it, it would look really bad. Robert TV, 2004. Thank you so much for the super chat. I love the dancing pair. So y'all been really great today with the super chats. It's something where I can kind of connect with my fans, and Thank you all so much, and keep the super chats going. I'm pumped up, so I'm ready to give some political commentary. And how I do it is you just hit the dollar sign, and you can like type a message, so it's something that kind of like pops up, and I can refer to you back. So thank you all so much for doing that right there. All right, so let me kind of answer some of your smaller chat questions, but definitely if you want kind of one of your more important questions to for me to answer, that's definitely better to do in the super chat form, just so that it will stay there for longer. What do you think that the Democrats would do with the Senate plus House majority in a Biden presidency? I think that they'll try to do a lot. I think one of the first things they would do is probably try to raise some taxes. I think they'd probably try to do kind of a jobs program in relation to green energy. Um, and I think that you might see more things with healthcare try to expand Obamacare. I'm not sure what would be the first priority, but you could also see something to do with the Supreme Court. I think that it would be likely that they would try to end the filibuster, which could backfire on them if Republicans were to gain power again, which will probably happen. What do you make of Sidney McCain's endorsement of Biden? I think she spoke at the DNC. I think people saw this coming. I think it's maybe a relevant headline for about 12 hours. But I think that people who kind of saw her speak at the DNC, if that was very impactful, I don't think anyone's changed their mind just because of Sidney McCain. But I think it does show kind of how much the Republican Party has changed over kind of the last 10 to 20 years. Will Mark Kelly be able to help Joe Biden over the line in Arizona? I think this is very possible. I think this is kind of one race where we're going to see the Senate and the presidential race be separated by a bit, because I think Mark Kelly is a lot more attractive candidate, definitely more popular. But I think Biden's going to try to attach himself to Mark Kelly a lot, but I definitely think that Trump is going to outperform Martha McSally, and that Mark Kelly is going to outperform Joe Biden there. So that's pretty radical. It says that Biden's more likely to win than Trump right now, but the Senate is 50-50. I really do think that the Senate is kind of a 50-50 tie, like in terms of seats. I think it's going to come down to North Carolina and Iowa. I think those are kind of our swing states right now. I think North Carolina could go red, and I think Iowa could go blue. But I think those are going to be kind of the two closest states. All right, let me try to. There's just so many questions that I can't get to all of them. So if y'all kind of want to prioritize one question, definitely using that super chat function. Let's see. Sebastian says that 2020 election hub has an interesting question, so I'll definitely try to get to his question. Trying to scroll up 2020 election hub. If you want to ask that question once over. Oh, okay. If you were Joe Biden's campaign manager, would you have Biden debate Trump, or would you have him pull out as it might mitigate any damage done? So I think in hindsight, if you remember the Democratic primary, Michael Bloomberg had a horrendous debate performance, and I think that in hindsight, his campaign manager would have told him just skip the debates and just kind of flood the airways with all the cash that you're spending. I think we don't really know yet. If Biden has a really bad performance, then I think people will say this was the turning point in the race. Biden should have never gone out on stage and done this. I think right now, I mean, Biden didn't have any horrible debate performances in the Democratic primary. I mean, he kind of had some shaky ones. If he is like just shaky, I don't think it will have a huge impact. But if like Biden just does terribly, then I think people will be like, why did his campaign managers even let him do that? So thank you, 2020 Election Hub, for the question, and Sebastian for kind of doing that too. Let's see. Opinions on the Texas Senate race. I think that John Cornyn's going to win between probably like 4 to 6 points. I think he's going to do a lot better than Ted Cruz did, because I think John Cornyn is just a more popular figure than Ted Cruz was. And also, I think that 2020 year is going to be kind of less of a Democratic wave year that 2018 was, just because President Trump is on the ballot. I think Texas is one state where John Cornyn is going to outperform President Trump. And in 2024, I think Texas might be a complete swing state on the Senate level and even on the presidential level. If Biden wins, then I think that the opposing party will have an advantage. So I think the Republicans will have an advantage. If Trump wins, then I think that in 2024, Texas definitely could go blue. So I think it has a lot to do with who's in power. And I think that if Trump wins in 2020, then I think 2022 and 2024 will be hard years for the Republicans as well. If Biden wins, I think 2022 could be a very good year for Republicans in the midterms, just kind of a as a reaction to the Biden presidency. And we see this in 2010 with President Obama. That was a great year for the Republicans in the midterms. And then also we saw that in 2018, it was a great year for the Democrats, right when President Trump got elected. Let's see, Robert TV 2004. Thank you again for the super chat. Do you think we've had the October surprise with RBG's death, or do you think we're in for something else? I think that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death will just kind of always be on people's mind. If we remember back to 2016, Antonin Scalia's death definitely had an impact, but the October surprise, I think there were two. I think it was first was the Access Hollywood tape that definitely damaged Trump a lot. Then secondly, I think we can say that the Comey letter that relaunched the investigation to Hillary Clinton was another October surprise. I think that we're probably going to be in store for another one. I mean, 2020 has already been so crazy, but with Trump as president, you never know what's going to happen. I really kind of think he has an ace up his sleeves, just because he is the president, and I think you have a lot of power when you're the incumbent president. Will there be any October surprise for the Democrats against Trump? I really don't think there's anything about Trump that hasn't been already leaked, or that people don't already know. So I think it'll be hard for the Democrats to pull out an October surprise. If the coronavirus gets worse, I think that maybe could be your October surprise. But I think that right now the October surprise could only kind of go in Trump's favor. And if it were to backfire, then of course that would be like it would help Biden. All right. Let's see. Wow. So we have a lot of different chats. I'm gonna try to read these. I'm sorry for not keeping up. Let's see. All right. Thank you all so much for doing this. So let's see, 2020 election HUD. Could Joe Biden's poor performance in Minnesota have a down ballot effect on Tina Smith, thus her losing her seat? So I've actually seen on the 538 forecast that in the Senate, the Republican challenger Tina Smith has a lot better chance than Donald Trump to win the seat. I think you could see with the social unrest happening in um, Minneapolis. I think that could have an impact on the election. I still think on the presidential level and Senate level that they both lean towards the Democrats, but I think Trump is definitely going to make a play, and I think the RNC is going to pour some money into there. So right now, I'm at 30 minutes. I'm probably going to go until about 45 minutes just because this has been a really awesome session. Y'all have been really generous with the super chat. So if any of y'all want to ask a question, I'm getting a lot of chats. I would love for y'all to use the super chat feature, and kind of maybe take some weight off the backs of Robert TV 2004 and Sebastian, because they've been carrying all the weight in terms of the super chat. So maybe some of you guys like 2020 election hub, or that's pretty radical. But anyway, I'll try to answer some of y'all's questions while I'm waiting on some of the super chats to come in. Will the early voting give Dems a huge lead? I think that with some absentee ballot requests and kind of with some early voting numbers, we've seen that the Democrats have had an advantage in those. This isn't really surprising to me. I still think, like all elections, we're going to see most votes cast and counted on election night. I think in 2016 it was about like 75% of the votes, but that I mean, I don't want to discount the impact that early voting and absentee ballot voting and mail-in voting are going to have. We actually see, which is pretty interesting, Republicans tend to vote on election day more often than Democrats. I think we're going to see this in 2020 especially. So I think what we could see is we could start out to see a blue mirage and then a red mirage as the mail-in votes aren't counted, and then we maybe could kind of see more of a purple mat. So I think all these things are going to be very interesting to look at, and definitely tune into my channel because I'm going to be covering all these things, because I think the 2020 presidential election, also the Senate and House elections, I mean, it's going to be the craziest in modern political history. So I really just see this race just being crazy. So definitely work with everything that is going on there. So all right, I would love to answer some more questions. Let's see what Sebastian's saying. It's amazing to see how much this channel has grown and the community you've created. I remember being your 4th or 5th subscriber. Proud of you, Ben. Thank you so much. I'm really new to YouTube. I started this under quarantine. That's kind of a hobby of mine, talking about politics. And it's something that I do in my free time. I check real politics every day. I check 538 every day, and I check some different election models just because I want to have kind of all the data, and also Twitter, because Twitter is a pretty good resource. And also, I just wanted to announce, if you haven't heard yet, I created my own new Twitter account. It's called 2020 Election Predictions, the same name as my YouTube channel. And I'll try to be kind of offer some more daily commentary on that I don't cover in my YouTube channel. So this might just kind of be like on issues or maybe on specific polls, so I could comment on that. I would say, yeah. So I would say mail-in votes. We saw kind of with the naked ballot rule in Pennsylvania. It is projected that in Pennsylvania, between 7 and 8 mail-in ballots could be rejected. And I think what kind of some of the data that the different numbers that the states were looking at, this could be up to 100,000 ballots that are rejected, and that's kind of a bigger margin than what the 2016 election was decided on in the state of Pennsylvania. So I would definitely say that I'd probably vote in person if you can, just because I kind of trust that more. I've seen kind of videos where people are like, "Would you send in a winning lottery ticket by mail, or would you kind of cash it in person?" I think that's a pretty good point. But of course, I don't want to speak for everyone because obviously not everyone is able to vote in person, especially kind of with the coronavirus happening. Um, Sebastian, I have a question for you. What time is it in Australia right now? Because I was kind of wondering when I should do my live streams. Because to try to get all of my fans. Because I actually looked at the analytics for my YouTube, and about 10% of my viewers are from Australia, which I think is very interesting. I think it's about like 75% from the US, about 10% from Europe, and then 5% just kind of from all over. So I definitely want to do my videos and my live streams at times where it's most easily accessible for everyone. Um, New Zealand is 9 a.m. Wow, so it's pretty early in the morning. Right now in the Eastern time zone, it's about 4:50. Ooh, 6:51. And I may or not have told you, but a lot of my friends about your channel. Well, Sebastian, if you want to DM me on Twitter, I'd love to kind of get your contact information just to reach out to you because you've been just a really good supporter. I think you're kind of like you're definitely in my first 10 of subscribers, and I remember you commenting in like April in one of my videos saying that I would grow big. Let's see. Um, cool. Well, guys, I've kind of been talking for a while. I can't really think of anything new to say. If y'all kind of have any last questions or uh last questions, last concerns, last comments, kind of last predictions, I would love to hear them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll probably hop off for now and maybe try to get on to tomorrow or Friday. This seems to be a pretty good time. I would say kind of between like 3 and 5. I think I got up to about 30 viewers at point, so I'll definitely try to do this. And okay, so Sebastian says, is the 50-50 a bad thing? I mean, it's definitely not horrible. But um, I would say with the vice presidential breaking the tide, this could lead to a lot of different things. How do you see the results, the House results going? I see that the Democrats are going to win. I think the Republicans could pick up a few seats. They already have, like in California with Mike Garcia. But there you go. All right. Thank you so much, guys. Hope you all have a great day. All right. Bye-bye.